Ladies and gentlemen, the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 3. I finally have my hands on it. I've put it through its first initial run. And although this could be the best shoe I've ever run in, I have some major concerns. Let's talk about them. So before we get into the video, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe, watching content. Thanks so much, love you guys a lot. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Strava for all sorts of other updates and things like that. Without further ado, specs for the shoe here, preferably somewhere where they fit. And yeah, we're just going to get into the immediate specs right away. This shoe, in my size, is about 6.4, 6.5 ounces. Puts it roughly around 180 grams on average. We do have a stack height of the same trending Vaporfly Next Percent stack height of 40 millimeters in the heel, 32 millimeters in the forefoot, giving us the 8 millimeter offset. That's something that's not changed across the 3 iterations of the shoe from a numbers perspective. But once we get into some of the other specs, you'll see kind of where I have some questions. So, as we go into the upper, I'll tell you right off the rip, they changed some of the upper material structuring and some of its design, which is also awesome. And kind of a concern as well, just as something we'll see moving forward. As you can probably see right away, we do have some holier than normal mesh kind of running on the top, allowing for more, I guess, breathing space in the shoe. Some reduction in materials overall. And this pretty much stems all the way across the shoe. It's in the inside of our shoe with the hole structures here. We have it a little bit closer to the heel, which is nice, a little bit different. We don't have an inner sock for the shoe necessarily, which is fine. And I guess the other thing is, we have about a neutral heel support. It's not like a lot, but it's not too much where it's going to bug me necessarily while we're running. And then we have the same gusseted tongue technology. Just the tongue seems to have like more centralized in its in this particular iteration. I'm usually not used to having this front piece be the front of my ankle. I have it slightly turned when I go for my normal runs, but I think as a function, this gap between the tongue pieces should be the piece that's like running the very front of your shin bone there. So just kind of a thought there as well. So, what else is new? I mean, obviously, without comparing it too much to the Vaporfly Next Percent 2, we do have the same ZoomX foam going across the shoe. We do have the fly plate, the carbon plate in this shoe, which is visible right there. And yeah, it's just got a huge design revamp, a weight reduction, and all those pieces together, dude, oh my gosh. This could be one of the fastest, if not one of the smoothest race shoes I've ever run in to this point. It's kind of like the same reaction I had when I was in the Alphafly 1 for the first time, where there was just the speed kicking from the shoe and you're just bouncing, and the turnover is just so neat because of its technology. And I think Nike, in a way, did it again with the Vaporfly Next Percent 3 in this particular case. So, again, the same formula went across the shoe as it did in its previous 2 iterations, but there were a few different changes which now raise massive concerns for me in this particular case. So, the first piece that I'm worried about as we transition into this is just to show you what the outsoles of the shoes look like at about 15 to 20 miles. So, here we go. As you can see, it's a bit dirty, which is nothing I'm too worried about. The particulars with this shoe for this particular review is that I was running in the city of Chicago rather than out here in Algonquin where the roads are a little bit different. So we had some like newly paved roads, some dirt, some like lakefront path trails. So the shoe's a little bit dirtier than usual. That's okay, not a big deal. The 2 things I'm watching for right now. So funny enough, in the right foot, it's not really the external side of the shoe quite yet. But it is more of what's going on in the middle of the shoe. As you can see, it's kind of dirty, but what you may see when we zoom in really close is that the foam is really starting to break up in this midfoot heel area. As like when I'm landing with the shoe, it probably grinds in, so it kind of stops, and then we have that launch afterwards. So this could be happening during my downhill sections of the run. This could be just happening as a normal strike, although I've been very conscious about landing with the midfoot. Because what I'm also experiencing in this shoe when I'm riding the midfoot is that it feels like the shoe could expand a lot more than I'm doing for it. So it almost feels like I'm braking while I'm running in this shoe. And to be fair, I haven't had like the most perfect health week. So every time I was running, my stomach was kind of rumbling. I wasn't, in a good diet spot. I wasn't sleeping very well. So I didn't want to go pushing anything in this shoe right off the rip. But the shoe does carry you regardless because of its structure, how fast it feels to run in this particular thing. So there was some handicaps for me by running in this shoe. So that was one thing of concern, of course, is what's going on with this heel foam. It is exposed ZoomX for the most part. It says, rubber. Oh, that's the rubber fly plate. Never mind. I don't see too much rubber supporting the foam, of course, at this point. It does look hilarious as like a 3D laser print kind of shape and model. I think that was their idea, was to make it look like a raw 3D model print. Unless Nike is just raw 3D model printing and like, sandblasting it to clean it or something like that. It's possible. I'm not a shoe architect or engineer, so I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly what's going on there. Piece number 2 of concern. Okay, again, without comparing too much to the Vaporfly Next% 2, the 3 has the exact same stack height in the heel, but there's more foam in the shoe and less rubber. You probably see where this is going in, like, at least my particular case, and potentially yours, is that I'm worried about the shoe's overall lifespan at this point in time. There really is, like, the thinnest layer of rubber I've ever seen on this shoe. And at least in the Vaporfly Next% 2, the layer was like a bit thicker, and that whole, sole pad was just like a massive piece of rubber that, could burn out after 250 plus miles. Here, I'm genuinely concerned, even with the exposed ZoomX in this structure, if the shoe is even going to make it to, 150 miles, at least in my case too. So I am genuinely worried about this shoe's lifespan from that perspective. And I don't know if I have much else to say about that in terms of the outsole. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory. I am worried that even with the textile, with the lug pattern, that this shoe is going to fall apart a lot quicker than I would like it to if I'm using it on a regular basis compared to something like the Vaporfly Next% 2 or like a Boston 11 for like carbon plate daily training. You know what I mean? Piece number 3, this is a minor one. I've not had this issue with Nike shoes for a very long time, is despite, the awesome textile and mesh that's going on in the top, I am concerned about as to how open this toe box is, if it's prone to ripping a little bit more from like users, running their toes through this, or just the daily wears of the shoe, of how that's going to play out. It's just a minor thing, just a thought there. I don't have any reason to believe that I would break through this toe box in any sort of way. It does fit true to size. I'm not like bashing my toes anywhere at this particular time. If somebody else has an issue with that, let me know in the comments. But yeah, just this particular area, I hope I don't rip through it in any sort of way, but it does look like there is a potential for it, just based on its overall, lack of material, but also openness for breathing and all sorts of things. So this could become a potential use for like my Chicago triathlon, depending on how well, when I get off the bike and transition to a run, how it feels to run in this particular shoe. Because again, it's smooth, feels like a cloud. It doesn't hurt very much to run in this shoe at all. It doesn't feel super stiff, even though you kind of have an expectation that there is going to be a bit of stiffness in a shoe like this because of carbon plate, ZoomX. The stability is kind of just going to be a little bit bouncy, but you are expecting to go really fast in this particular pair. I think that's all I've got for now in the first impressions. We're going to get to 50 miles relatively soon. I am going to use this shoe for some track workouts just to experience what that feels like. But if you have a similar experience, similar thoughts, let me know in the comments below. And if not, just keep tracking this. We're going to see how far I can take this shoe before it becomes unusable. But yeah, the Nike Vaporfly Next% 3 in the white silver color, which I deemed the silver arrows, kind of just like the Formula 1 team, but whatever. Just a happy coincidence that worked out like that. Yeah, let me know your favorite Formula 1 teams in the comments below. I'm not a Mercedes guy like diehard, but I am a fan right now of, it's got to be a mix. In the 2023 season, if you're not a fan of Aston Martin, I mean, come on, man, like, they're doing so awesome. You gotta love Aston Martin right now. And then if you're just a Red Bull guy, it's like, okay, we get it. You just like voting for the winning team. And then Ferrari, like, I don't know, guys. I feel bad for the Ferrari fans out there. I know my uncles were huge with Ferrari. I liked Ferrari last year a lot when, they were doing well and they had a respectable team. But now it's, just reliability issues. Hopefully, speaking of reliability issues, we don't have reliability issues in this shoe. So that transitioned well, I guess. But anyways, thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.